Hello, students. Good evening. So, now this is the time to discuss morphology. Morphology is the branch of linguistics that studies the internal structure of words, how words are formed, what are the rules, right? So, that is study of words, right? Internal structure of words and rules. That's how words are formed, right? Along with this, it investigates how smaller meaningful units combine to create words. So that's the smaller meaningful units combined to create words and how those words can be modified to fit into that sentence. Suppose example is they are honest. They are honest. But when you put dis in front of honest, so it becomes they are dishonest. Honest, right? So that is that's a meaningful smallest smaller meaningful unit, right? So this is a smaller meaningful unit, right, combined to create words. So it create words dishonest, and then how those words can be modified to fit into the sentence. Why? Because I have to say that the person is very much dishonest, so that not reliable or something. So I have to add a dis in front of honest, and this way that honest is modified and it changes the meaning. So that is the morphology. So the core principle of morphology is that complex words are not simply listed in our mental dictionary, rather they are systematically built and understood by combining basic units. Means when our mental dictionary is also there, right? When we learn, when we listen, when we discuss, when we write, so that is kept in mind, and in our brain there is a dictionary, right? So we imbibe the ideas, and that is not random, that is systematically we build build the words systematically and understood by combining basic units. So that's a what are the basic units, how word can be formed, this way we study. So this is the study of morphology. So what are the elements of morphology, right? So the building blocks, let us see. The fundamental element of morphological analysis is morpheme. Morpheme means words. So fundamental, the building block of morphology is morphemes, right? So what is morpheme? A morpheme is a smallest unit of language. That's the smallest unit of language, morpheme, that carries meaning or grammatical function. So that particular word carries meaning or it has grammatical function. For example, if I say that uh, live, right? And if I say that livelihood, so that's a word is different. If I say that uh, uh, better, right? So it's a better, and betterment. So that is grammatical function, better or betterment, right? So that function changes, right? It cannot be broken down into smaller meaningful parts, and then that is already last constraints of a sentence. So it cannot be broken down into smaller meaningful parts. Important, like syllables. So it is not syllable, it is final, it's a uh, last constituent of a sentence, right? Okay, so morphemes can categorize based on their ability to stand alone. So whether they can stand alone or not. So this way morphemes can be categorized into two: free morpheme and bound morpheme. Free morpheme can stand alone because they are independent, and bound morpheme must be attached to another morpheme because they cannot stand alone. That is why these are bound morpheme. Example: cat can stand alone, run, happy. But uned cannot stand alone. They must be attached with another morpheme, root morpheme or base morpheme. Then only they can stand. Right. So these are the two categories. Now, number one is that's a category and morpheme, and number two is structural elements. What are the structural? Morphemes combine to form the structure of a word. How? Morphemes combine different, like bound morpheme and free morpheme, they combine together and form the structure of a word, and then they make a new word, right? So that's a root and affixes combine the word, which cannot, like bound morphemes are affixes and free morphemes are uh, yes, free morphemes are, these are the free morphemes, right? And these are the bound morphemes, they cannot stand alone, bound morphemes. So this is the difference. So free morpheme or base, the core morpheme of a word that carries the main lexical meaning. So these are the core morphemes which can stand alone, root or base of a word that carries main lexical meaning, that carries the main meaning, right? And it is the part to which other morphemes are attached. So this is the main part, this is the base, and that is why it is called base or root. So this is the root, and in the root or base, bound morphemes are attached. So example is kind. Kind is the base or root, and prefix and suffix. When we add prefix and suffix into the kind, so it becomes unkindness, right? So this way it is a new word. So kind has a lexical meaning. However, there is un does not mean, un is, we know that negative. When we make negative a word, then we usually use un, right? Ness is for noun form, but then ness cannot stand alone, and ness does not mean any meaning. Un does not mean any independent meaning, lexical meaning, but kind has lexical meaning. That's a pity. Okay, so that is there. Now next part is affixes or bound morpheme. So there are three affixes, right? That's a prefix, suffix, or infix. So all bound morphemes that are attached, that have to attach to a root or stem. So bound morpheme cannot stand alone. They have to attach with root or base. Then only they can stand. So they can either be attached with they can be attached with the root in the beginning or after the beginning or in the middle. How? When they attach, that's a bound morpheme attached with the root. So that's a when they attach in the beginning, which is called prefix, and when they attach after the root, which is called suffixes. So attach before the root, right, is called prefix, unhappy, and attach after the, this is before the, root, and after the root, for example, ness, happiness, that is suffix. So right from childhood you have been studying, right? But yes, infix might be new for you. So that other types exist in some languages, which is called infixes, inserted within a root. So sometime it is inserted within a root, right? And circumfixes. Next is circumfixes attach simultaneously around a root, right? So example here they haven't given, but yeah, you should know prefixes and suffixes, right? And then, for example, here morpheme, right? So that's a unkindness, un is bound morpheme, kind is root or base, and ness is bound morpheme, right? That is prefix, un is prefix, ness is suffix, right? Suffix, and kind is root. So words are, what are the words? Types of morpheme: bound, free, and bound. Right? Derivational. Why? Because it changes the grammatical position. When you say kind, right, and unkind, so that is derivational, means just opposite word. Make a new word, meaning changes. So that is derivational. And then sometime kind or kindness, right? So that again change the meaning of the word. So that is derivational. Now, types of morphology. Types of morphology. That's the morphology is primarily divided into two main functional types based on the purpose of the word forming. So, types of morphology is divided into two main functional types. First is inflectional morphology and derivational. Inflectional morphology, this process modifies a word to express different grammatical categories. So, this is modifies to express different grammatical categories required by the sentence structure. But important thing is that key feature is that does not change the word's parts of speech. Please take care. Does not. It does not change the part of speech. Very important. Suppose if you change tense, then part of speech will not be changed. Walk, walked. So both are verb, right? If you change number, that's a book, books. Both are noun. If you change the case, right? So that's a she or her. Both are pronoun. So this change is called inflectional, right? So that is modifies a word to express different grammatical categories. Means this is present tense, this is past tense, but that does not change parts of speech, does not change, or its core meaning does not change. Its core meaning does not change. It simply creates a grammatically different form of the same word or lexeme. So it just create grammatically different form of the same word. So that is grammatically different. For example, polite or politely. So polite is an adjective and politely is an adverb. So that is grammatically changed, but meaning does not change. English inflectional morphemes bound suffixes means that all inflectional morphemes attach after the root in English, not before the root. English has only a small set of productive inflectional morpheme, mostly suffixes. Exception must be there, but mostly suffixes. Example, suppose you have added s, so that's a plural, dogs, cats, and so on. And possessive pronoun, that's a teachers, right? So when we write teachers, teachers, right? That's a girls, right? That's a daughters, whatever. Then when we put s in the third person singular present tense, then it is walks, right? Then next is when we add ed, so that becomes past tense, walk, walked. When we put progressive, that's a ing form, walking. Then comparative study, taller. Superlative, that's a adjective, that is tallest. So I think you are familiar with, but yes, what is noticeable here? That's a grammatical, these are the plural, right? This is possessive pronoun, this is walk, walks, but then it grammatical, that's a meaning does not change. Dog, dog, singular, plural, it's okay, right? But meaning, grammatical categories may change. Present becomes past, but then meaning or part of speech does not change. This is very important. So dog, dogs, right? That's a noun, noun. Teacher, teachers, noun, noun. Walk, walks, verb, verb. Here, thus walk is verb. Walking is verb. Tall is tall and taller, adjective. It remains adjective. Yes, comparison. So that grammatical category can change, but then meaning or part of speech does not change. So that's very important for inflectional. Now, second type is derivational. Derivation. Derivation means something new, new word. Derivation means actually new word. So means new word means new category. Parts of speech definitely will change. This process form a new word by adding affixes to a root, right? So we have to use affixes to a root. And important feature is it often change, often, sometime, very less, exception is everywhere, but yes, it often changes the word part of speech, changes the word a part of speech, or significantly changes its meaning. So it changes part of speech, or significantly meaning also changes. It creates a new word. A new word or new lexeme means meaning must be changed, right? Example, part of speech change. Teach is verb, and when you put teacher is noun. So teach, I teach in a college, right? I teach third year students. So that is teaches, that is the verb form, but I am a teacher, that's a noun form, right? Similarly, happy is adjective and happiness becomes noun form. So this is derivational morpheme. And meaning change, condition is that meaning must change. Exception, again I'm telling you, exceptions are everywhere. So now part of speech may or may not change. Some part of speech may or may not change. How? Write verb, rewrite verb. So part of speech remains same, but meaning change. Write and rewrite. Legal and illegal, both are adjective, legal and illegal, right? But meaning is changed. Legal and illegal, just opposite. So meaning must be changed. So we have seen that lexical, right? In lexical, part of speech does not change, right? Grammatical category can may change, right? The past, present, singular, plural. So that grammatical category change, but meaning does not change. Here meaning change, right? And then meaning, part of speech change and meaning change. That's a, in this case, part of speech change, here meaning change, right? So that is depends in derivational. But yes, derivational, that is important. That's a part, either part of speech will change or meaning will change. Now, other word formation processes. What are they? That's a beside affixation, using inflectionals or inflections or derivations. Other major morphological processes create words. So, apart from inflections or derivations, we have another other methods are also there. These are compounding, right? So, compounding is what? That's a yes. Compounding is this involves combining two or more free morphemes. Compounding means two or more free morphemes. Please, that's a combination of free morphemes, right? Full words to create a new compound word means here combination of free morphemes. Noun plus noun, adjective plus noun, right? These are the free morphemes. So that sun and flower becomes sunflower, blue and bird becomes bluebird. So here also word formation, we can see word formation. This process is called compounding, but in compounding both the morphemes are free morphemes, must be free morphemes. Other types, lexical creation, while sometimes considered part of word formation, these processes often involve shortening or blending. Shortening is clipping. Shortening a word, example advertisement, to add telephone to phone, right? Telephone. So that's a advertisement, right? To add, and telephone to phone, right? So here clipping, shortening a word means here add, and here that's a so to add, right? And telephone to phone, telephone. So these are, this method is called clipping, right? Then blending, combining parts of two words. Two words, smoking and fog and smog. Motor plus hotel, motel, right? So that's a nearby petrol pump and all. That is motel, right? For example, fantabulous. So fantastic and fabulous. Fantabulous. Fabulous. So that's a combination of fantastic, fantastic, and fabulous. Fabulous. Right? Another example, that's a ant education. And and ant education. Ant education. Education. Right? Education. So entertainment, entertainment, and education. Education. That's a two words. And education. So that is blending. Now acronym formed from the initial letters of a phrase. NASA, right? And then scuba. So that's a initial letters of phrase. Right? So that's a these types of words formation is are also there, right? So that is something to do with morphology.